First leg, Michael to throw first. Game on.
What we say about Gary Anderson is that he sometimes plays a lazy game and gets through, but when he plays against Michael,
96.
he finds a bit of focus. And Peter Wright knows that if he is slightly off his focus in this game, he's going to get walloped. So with what has gone before in the quarterfinals, where he has pretty much got away with it, and maybe with the two previous games, and looking at Michael's performance, if Peter doesn't know that he has to lift his game now, then
100.
maybe someone needs to tell him.
Well, Michael van Gerwen is the overwhelming favourite with the bookies to win this one. He's 4-1 on pretty much across the board. Peter Wright available at 3-1.
58.
Although I would have thought, or many might have had him at a slightly longer price than that. But Peter Wright is certainly going to have to raise his game from his previous two meetings. 88.9 the average against Roby John. Van Gerwen coming into this with a tournament average, an overall tournament average of 99.55. And if he can emulate that, or at least improve on that, then that will make things very difficult indeed for the number 5 seed.
Yeah, the way that Michael played in the previous game against Ricky Evans, that's the best I've seen him play in months. I think that was a really sharp performance, and he looked hungry. He wants this title, make no mistake. I reckon the next target for him on European Tour titles is 50. I think I've heard him say that out loud. He wants 50 titles, then after that he will establish another goal. He does want to have more PDC titles than Phil Taylor over the whole world.
Yeah, and that, you know, might well be one of the driving forces behind Michael van Gerwen this weekend. He's got plenty of other driving forces as well, but we mentioned the point before. It's been a while since he, I say a while, a comparative while since he won his last European Tour. He's gone 3 tournaments. He skipped Denmark, but he's gone 3 tournaments without lifting a trophy. His most recent success was here in Austria, in Graz, when he beat Peter Wright in the quarterfinals, 6-5. Before going all the way, and it's Van Gerwen who's off the mark first as well.
Yeah, he will be going to Mannheim next week. And Teresa, at this stage, you don't expect him to withdraw from those. He will definitely go to Gibraltar and defend his title there. He enjoyed playing there last year. I was disappointed not to play him in the final. But I wonder who is going to rise up in Gibraltar at the end of September, the European Championship cut-off weekend, which is always exciting.
And Gibraltar is a tournament that has proved or acted as a springboard, retrospectively at least, it's acted as a springboard to several careers over the years.
I get the feeling if Peter doesn't find his scoring shoes sometime soon, Michael's going to start going into overdrive, and he's going to try and win this 7-0.
Well, I was just going to say as well, if you wind the clock back just a couple of weeks, they met in Melbourne in the World Series in the semi-finals. Van Gerwen won that semi-final by 8-0. So effectively, on aggregate now, he's 9 out of 9. 9-0 he leads.
That's better. Got to rely on a mistake from MVG that you don't think is coming, though. Hasn't been missing these types of shots. But he has missed this one by some way. It's a good centimetre high on tops there, and maybe that will encourage Peter, like you said earlier, Rob. Single 4. Now, this weekend he's chosen a different MO, and it's worked on this occasion. Double 10 is, on the whole, been his best friend. Hasn't missed it much, but over the course of his career, and I've seen it up close, most of the time he would have gone 12 for double 16, but obviously he's gone for a different type of finishing way. And we do know that Peter has said in interviews that the reason he changes his equipment and stuff so often is because he does get bored sometimes by using the same kit. It feels like his hand goes to sleep. So he needs to wake it up by using something different. Well, maybe because he's so comfortable with this dart that in order to keep himself focused, he's looking at getting rid of finishes in slightly different ways. That would make sense to me. as a dart player, when you've been doing the same thing year in, year out, going for 12 double 16 or going for a 14 on 46 instead of a 10 or a 6, you'll do it and you'll be on the double 16 before you even know it. But if you want to change something, it's a really big conscious change. 1 on 180 from Wright.
Gets himself down to a finish of 161 on the Van Gerwen throw, but Van Gerwen
138
with a strong response.
161.
I remember Peter hitting a 161 against Michael in the final in Sindelfingen, and that was the time when Peter beat Michael 6-0. One of the best performances I've seen on the European Tour in its history. Double 12 for MVG.
Yeah, he'll be relieved to have got that because, of course, he had those missed darts at tops in the previous leg and he missed the first attempt at double 12, but no problem with the second. 73 previous meetings between these two. They have met on every imaginable stage in all 4 corners of the globe, it seems, as well. I talked about Melbourne. They've met in Japan. They've met, of course, in the likes of Crawley, Barnsley, Dublin, European Tour as well, Wigan.
Ali Pali.
Ali Pali, of course, yeah. Do you know where their first meeting was?
Oh, it's got to be a while ago.
It was in 2009.
Okay, I remember that year very well. I'm going to say Glasgow, Irvine.
It was a UK qualifier, UK Open qualifier in Brentwood.
Oh, that's when we used to play in the home of the PDC.
Yeah, Van Gerwen won it 6-3. The home of the PDC was the first ever meeting of these two. And here we are, over a decade on.
That's when we used to play in
Vienna.
Exotic places like Swindon. Oh, this match has just caught light. What a response from Wright. This is proper darts. I think MVG may have woken the snake up.
58.
Yeah, it's uncoiled from its basket, hasn't it? Peter Wright, 81 to level things up at 2 apiece. 62 away. Finds the treble 12 to leave double 13. And neat and tidy stuff from Peter Wright.
That's the second time he's done that today. The other time it was very important indeed when he was playing against Roby John. And if he keeps leaving 81 and doing that, with the scoring that came behind it, he's got a very good chance in this game. And all of a sudden, things have tightened up. As tight as 2 coats of paint right now. This is brilliant stuff from Snakebite.
He's suddenly just found a little extra, hasn't he? Peter Wright with 3 180s in this semi-final already.
It's funny how the crowd were... Well, they weren't giving Peter any stick in his last game. They just weren't cheering for him. But now they're cheering for him against MVG. I love these darts crowds. They're so fickle.
57.
Same wherever you go around the world.
Yeah. Van Gerwen did have a bit of a rough time of things against Jeffrey de Zwaan in his opening match today. He trailed 3-2 after de Zwaan put in a break of throw and a 12-dart leg to take the lead in that match, having trailed 2-0. But from that moment on, there was a good response by Van Gerwen. And he may well need to come up with a similar response here.
Well, the crowd are quiet right now because of the fact that Suljovic has taken their voice. They will come alive if he hits this ball.
77.
This has turned into a very high quality game. Double 18 for MVG for the lead. And a wonderful double 9 and the first show of emotion from the world number 1. He knows how important that switch to 9s was.
Yeah, he knows as well that he's not been razor sharp on his finishing so far. Missed darts at tops and just a little wobble on double 12 before taking it out. And there again we saw the missed dart at double 18. But Peter Wright threatening another 180 here. That would have been number 5.
Remember when Peter Wright played MVG at the Champions League last year? In the semi-finals it was.
In Cardiff.
In
Brighton, sorry.
And Peter put in a wonderful performance. He stood it in the final and lost to Gary Anderson, but the performance against MVG,
140.
he was backing up something he said in an interview after the group stage, and that was, I've got the formula, I know how to beat this guy. And Michael looked
58.
very good that day, but Peter put in one of those clinical displays where he didn't put a foot wrong, and he blew himself out with the game against MVG in the
41.
semi-finals and didn't get the title.
Well, Peter will be disappointed that he didn't get down to a finish there, because all of a sudden, that's
120.
desperately unfortunate for Van Gerwen.
Is that 4 times today that's happened where he's had 2 60s and the third one has had some sort of rejection?
Yeah, well, it's happened just a short while ago in this match as well.
140.
140 for Wright to leave tops. Van Gerwen adrift on 281, looking to make a dent in it, just in case.
140.
But this should be 3 apiece. And it is 3 apiece.
That wasn't even a rhythmic dart. He just knew he was going to hit it and he flung it at double 10.
3 times Michael Van Gerwen has led in this match. 3 times Peter Wright has hauled himself level.
Good quality there. Edgy first leg. Since then, 5 visits are the maximum. And that's kind of what we expect from these 2 guys who occupied world number 1 and number 2 for quite some time. Peter down at 6 now, and another reject on dart 3 for Michael. That's very odd. Never seen this happen before.
Yeah, something is awry, perhaps. Michael Van Gerwen needs to address it swiftly. Now,
60.
Peter Wright hasn't really fully capitalised on that one.
I think Michael might have put a new flight in because that barrel cascaded into that flight and he may have torn it.
100.
One thing we should say is that dart players are allowed to take spare equipment up on stage as much as they want, really. And these 2 guys use
100.
polymer flights which come flat, and you've got to pretty much unfold them in your case. There are other guys who use flights that are pre-molded into right angles, and those guys, when they have spares, they have these little plastic cases that already have them in, so all they've got to do is pop one out and stick it on the top. But ordinarily you'll see players take spare stems and flights, not usually spare darts, but we've seen from these guys they've taken more than that up there, especially Peter. 12, double 13 this time for MVG. He misses and invites Wright in for the lead.
And Peter Wright's 180 with his previous visit from 245 has left himself in a very strong position here for the first break of throw in this match. And he finds the 25 with his first dart, and he's looking at tops once again, and he's looking at double 10. Agonisingly inside the wire.
26.
Didn't expect him to miss that. Michael's only going to get 1 dart at double 6. He went back to the right of the board, and he was right to do so. A lot of people would have gone 5 there for double 4, but he chose to go for double 6. I think it was a perfect plan because he'd been there before. It's right next door to double 13. Right-handers love double 6.
Yeah, and these booms of celebration that you can hear from Van Gerwen are becoming increasingly prominent and increasingly relevant as well, because it tells you that he knows that he's in a spot of bother. He knows himself that he's not really settled fully in this one. He's not in any sort of comfort zone whatsoever, and he knows that one could easily have gone the other way.
3 on a pin there.
Well, how he's found a way through with that second dart, I do not know.
Very impressive grouping from Peter Wright. It's one of the reasons why he uses the point that he does. It's very thin and it's very long. There's a bit of right hook on that last dart there, but it was effective. He's in the driving seat on the scoring sheet here. Got a nice lead of about 150.
58.
And I think MVG is semi-waving the white flag in this one. He expects Peter Wright to get rid of 197 in 6. Now, 77 off leaves 120, so the logical thing is to go back to the 60, and he does so successfully.
Well, Peter Wright did not throw a single 180 against Joe Cullen. He managed just one against Roby John Rodriguez. But against Michael van Gerwen, he has managed to put together 6 inside the first 7.5 legs of this one. Make that 8 legs because he's just levelled it up at 4 apiece.
Peter Wright's averages through this tournament have not been, well, they haven't been brilliant today. Yesterday against Vandenberg, he was up near, it was 99 and a bit, wasn't it? But today it wasn't great. Well, in this game it's a little different. He's back towards what he was doing against Dimitri. The scoring ability, well, I'm not sure what he's insinuating.
140.
Michael van Gerwen's having to work very hard here, though.
Yeah, he knows he's in a game. But the scoring ability from Wright has been brilliant in this match,
well,
in direct contrast to the last 2 matches where it wasn't.
Yeah, he's hauled and dragged his average right up for this one, and he had to.
57.
Well, he's left himself the opportunity. And he may well have to take out this 170 as well, you know, because if Wright can post a ton 40 here or something similar, moving downstairs, but he slipped up there.
45.
If Michael van Gerwen gets the 260s, he'll go for the bull here. Get the feeling he needs a catalyst of adrenaline.
He does. He needs a real shot in the arm, I think, here, just to get himself going, give him something to work with. But again, we've said it before, Peter Wright must be wondering, my word, I'm doing really well. I'm averaging over 102, and yet I'm still level at 4-4, and I can't find a way through, even though Van Gerwen is nowhere near his best.
That dart has spiked a bit. The flight's in the way, and he flicked on it as well. Now, there are times in matches against great players where you need to find your magic wand. And right now, Peter Wright needs to play the oboe and get the snake going. Not to be.
41.
Yeah, that will give Michael van Gerwen some much needed space to manoeuvre here, and he's looking at double 5. And again, it was hard work. It was a 17 dart holder throw for Michael van Gerwen. He had a 19 dart holder throw in the opener. Far from convincing, but it's a measure of a champion when you can come through encounters like this, when you're not playing at your best, nowhere near your best, and still manage to eke out the results and eke out the legs. He's not got the result yet. 5-4, 2 away.
Don't say, Rob, they don't put averages on trophies, but they do put your name on there. And these guys have got plenty of winners' trophies at home. I'm very interested to know, because I know about Peter, he doesn't have the runners-up trophies. He doesn't keep them anymore. I wonder if Michael keeps his runners-up trophies. Surely his trophy room wasn't big enough to house runners-up trophies and winners' ones.
33.
Have to have his own museum. Oh, he can't miss. Can't miss. Threw in a pinhead again.
180, number 8 for Peter Wright. Oh.
40.
Well, I think Michael van Gerwen can put this leg to bed as well. A little bit of a glare at the board there. No answers forthcoming.
Yeah, stare down for that 60 bed. Tops for Wright. Success. 5-all. His first to 7, remember. So now we're into a best of 3. News of the world format.
120.
I'm not sure that Van Gerwen is confident when he gets 260s that the third one is going to plant in there.
Right, well, we've touched upon this weekend as well, the psychology that comes into play. There's got to be an argument that players lose their faith in the board. But Peter Wright has every faith in the board right now. 180, number 9 in this match, having managed just 1 in his previous 2 encounters today.
What did you say the price was for Peter Wright? 4-1?
He was 3-1 prior to the start of this match to win this semi-final.
It's looking pretty tasty.
If you got on board, you'll be hopeful.
96.
Still possible. And no entertainment of staying on the 60 from Michael. Went downstairs. He has almost fluked a finish there. He missed the 19.
Yes, that's a good way of putting that one, Paul.
100.
Not a bad leave that for Snake. He wanted to get the 85, but
manageable.
he's probably not going to get a shot. Tops.
That would have been the catalyst that he was desperately craving. He's now looking at double 10. However, he'll only be looking at double 10 if Peter Wright does not take out this 125. Oh, well, maybe Michael van Gerwen will feel a sense of justice has been served there.
40. Michael, you require
2 10s
20.
to get the 6. 6 it is. He's one away, and he is working very hard.
12 leg
And wouldn't you just,
throw
well,
first. Game on.
it would be no surprise if Michael van Gerwen, after 11 successive holes of throw, was to suddenly summon up a breaker throw here in the 12th leg for a 7-5 win. However, very little sign of that, you have to say, as Peter Wright rattles in his 10th 180 of the match.
Very impressive scoring from Peter. He's obviously done something right in the practice room between the quarters and the semi-final. Fair play to him, because he cannot miss the red bit at the minute. Hitting it with aggressive regularity. Looking very likely to take this to the last leg, which is what this audience want. It gives more rest time to Mensah Suljovic before the final. These guys, of course, will only get a maximum of 20 minutes between this game and the final.
Well, Michael van Gerwen has had both sides of the coin as far as that is concerned. He's sometimes in the top half of the draw, sometimes in the bottom half.
58.
This weekend he's in the bottom half of the draw, so we follow the draw bracket. And it may well prove a factor if he gets that far. However, Peter Wright hits a single 6 there to leave 115.
You notice how we're not talking about the streak of last leg deciders anymore?
No, certainly not.
Felt like we were talking about that for about 6 months. Looking for the 3-bagger down in the green.
96.
Would leave on 130, just in case Peter stumbles on double 18, but you get the feeling it's going to be 6-6 in a second.
Yeah, I get that feeling. And we are going to a 13th and final leg. Michael van Gerwen needs a solid start, and that'll do very nicely indeed. 12 holes of throw. The question now is, who will blink first?
I think you would call that a prescription shot. That's what the doctor ordered.
This could be something very similar.
140.
Jo watches on, happy with what she's seen so far, and maybe sensing there's more to come.
Tell you what, Van Gerwen will not mind that 5 because of the second 60. He's got rid of that odd number now. He can pound that 60 again, a 140 or a 180, and he is on Dream Street because Peter Wright can only get a ton maximum here.
Yeah, he's blocked a little bit of that bed as well, and that made life a little bit awkward there for him. He had to move ever so slightly over to the right-hand side. Van Gerwen has got a little bit of a cushion here now, and he's got an even bigger cushion now as well. And Michael van Gerwen is down to 102 after 9 darts. Peter Wright needs a big visit here to keep himself interested, and suddenly the trebles are drying up at just the wrong time.
He has played the maximum amount of legs he could possibly play this weekend up to this point. 84 left. It's double 12 for the final.
78.
He will be back.
Well, that would have been the most emphatic leg of the match for Michael van Gerwen, and it would have been, of course, the perfect way to finish things off. As it is, Peter Wright still alive in this one.
35.
3 bites at double 12 though for van Gerwen. You suspect he'll get the job done, and he has got the job done.